time. And I'll just quickly introduce myself and hand it over to Raj. So Kylie Rutherford, I lead our startup ecosystem with IBM, and we're incredibly excited to be at SaaStr for the first time ever with IBM to help you startups really harness the power of AI and transform in this era of data and AI. So I'll let Raj give his intro.
Thank you, Kylie. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the conference here. This is my first time attending, and it's been pretty amazing thus far. So my name is Raj Datta. I am responsible for all software and technology partnerships for IBM. And today's topic, as Kylie mentioned, is going to be with regards to AI. And so, I'm sure this has been the buzz, throughout the conference. And as we've seen over the past 5 years, 6 years, the growth of AI has been exponential, right? And as you can see on this chart, it says that the growth of AI has happened more than 2.5x over the past 5 years. I would actually say in the past 6 months, we've probably seen this number double as well, right? And why is it doubling, right? This is AI. We're starting to use AI as an area of beating the competition, right? Each of us who have your own companies and things like that, it's a very competitive landscape. And how are you going to get the edge, right? And as I'm going out there and speaking to many, many customers, right, what we're seeing is every CXO out there is saying, yes, we're going to adopt AI. We need to move forward. This is critical for our business. But the problem that occurs is, as you see by the stat, 79% are running to this issue. This issue is very simple, right? You look at it, companies will struggle to ensure that AI models are responsible, secure, and free of bias. So, just a little bit of background for me. I actually just returned back to IBM about a month and a half ago. And prior to this, I had my own cybersecurity software company, Oak9. And this was one area that we were really struggling with, is how do you have responsible AI, especially as a cybersecurity software company? And as we look at this, right, it's really about where is the data coming from? How are you training your models that you get responsible AI? And this was actually one of the reasons why I came back to IBM, because the focus of AI has been with us for 20 plus years. I mean, I'm sure most of you saw a long time ago when Watson went on Jeopardy and beat the Jeopardy champion, right? But it's evolved now. Now we have an enterprise-grade software, right? And so, as I'm talking to earlier stage companies, what I've also seen is, companies are running into biases and issues with their modeling. I'll give everyone a very simple example, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but I'm sure most of you have ChatGPT on your phones or have used it, right? If you take a look at it and you ask a simple question, spell lollipop backwards. Take a look at that after this, and I would love to get your response, because it's not able to understand that. And why is it not able to understand that? It's because it was how the data was trained and the models that were built, right? So as we go through this, we're looking at how organizations are wanting to embrace AI, but feel that they don't have the right skill sets to get there, right? So here you see 34% of the businesses lack the skill sets and knowledge for AI. I would say, actually, this was a stat from 2022. It's grown even more. And one thing that we've done here at IBM to prove it is we eat our own dog food. So over the past month, what we did across the organization, so this is 200,000 plus employees, actually did a watsonx challenge. And what we did there is we had salespeople, we had technical people, we had marketing, we had our secretaries, we had everyone participate in this watsonx challenge. And what they did was they created their own AI applications using watsonx. So, that shows you that, where IBM has focused is we are enterprise grade, but we want to give the ability for everyone to be able to use it, regardless of your company size. For anywhere from enterprises to startups, watsonx is available for you. So that said, as we look at it, 3 simple areas that we focus in on is how do you create a competitive edge? Every software company is trying to do that today. That's one of the most critical areas we look at. Then is how do you scale AI across your business? Do you have an enterprise-grade platform that allows you to do so? And then how do you advance trustworthy AI? So this is your compliance area, risks, security, making sure that the AI that you're putting out there with your software is responsible. And so that said, I'm going to hand it off to Kylie, who's going to go through some of pretty interesting use cases that we've come across that are just repeatable and usable across many different industries. So,
awesome.
Kylie.
Thanks, Raj. So before I jump into use cases, I'm going to add on to a piece of information that Raj was sharing earlier about how IBM is really helping companies change right now with our AI. So to his point, Raj was at IBM, he went to a startup, he came back. I also was previously with Amazon Web Services for a really, really long time, and what brought me over to IBM was truly this massive opportunity in the market with our AI. And I think what's really important and really exciting is we're doing things in the market like coming to SaaStr. So this is, we're flexing a really important muscle that says, how can we really be helping founders and co-founders and CEOs and folks, some of the partners that we have in the crowd today, really get their business up and running in a way that delivers immediate value. And I think in broader strokes, like there can be some resistance to AI, or oh, maybe it's going to be a little scary. But what comes along with that is that change is inevitable. And so what's really, really important as we go through these use cases is that you think about what are the necessary changes you need to make in order to grow, right? Companies and people, we often don't grow without change. And so thinking about when we're looking at these use cases, how can it apply to your business? And we definitely want to have those conversations with you, after our session. So definitely come find us, come chat with us. We are really, really excited to speak with each and every one of you. So do you want to add anything to that?
I was just going to say, well, if you're not doing it today, I can guarantee your competitor is.
Yes.
So it's a race to see who adopts it the fastest and does it in the best manner, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And part of being in that startup landscape is you're already up and coming to become relevant, maybe you already are, and so you're going to be looking at things a little bit differently. So rather than how do I transform, maybe legacy systems, you might be just saying, how do I build in a way that's built for tomorrow? How do I build in a way that's built for enterprise? So when I land multiple enterprise clients or I'm having those conversations, we have everything in place to scale up very, very rapidly. So let's talk about how you can do that, because there are a couple really, really key use cases that we're seeing, and we're directly supporting partners and companies that are doing this today. So the first one I'll chat a little bit about is talent. So none of us can build a really successful company if we're not thinking about our talent. But acquiring the right talent is a difficult task. It takes time, it takes energy, and you also have to be really cognizant of how are you reducing bias in hiring talent. How are you hiring diverse teams? What are the steps that you're taking that's going to build your rock star A team, right? So when we're thinking about that with AI, there's a level of productivity that can be improved when you're leveraging AI. So things like, content generation. AI can be building your job posts for you. It can be proofreading and editing and looking for certain words or verbiage that could potentially create a negative perception from your audience, right? You want to encourage all types of people to apply for a particular role if they meet the qualifications. So these are just the starting points of how AI can really start to infuse and help your business when it comes to talent.
Well, I was going to say I must have tricked IBM's AI models because they ended up hiring me back. But one interesting thing also with regards to the HR modeling is even at IBM, as I mentioned, we eat our own dog food. And we actually, ours is essentially an HR chatbot that majority of our employees use for HR-related questions. And we've trained it over many, many years where that now is the de facto standard for all HR-related items, right? So.
And this is a really, really great point because it segues into customer service very, very well. Our chatbot, for example, can resolve 70% of the employee cases that would typically be required to be answered by a person. A lot of the questions that we get, whether it's talent or customer service, a lot of those are repeatable. So this is really important as well, that when we're looking at the customer service landscape, there's your customer profile. Who is your customer? How many there's almost always a case management, a support desk, a help desk of some sort. You have agent management, right? And when you're looking at the cost of that, whether you're outsourcing or you're doing it in-house and it's homegrown, these are things that you can evolve, you can modernize. You don't necessarily need to spend those costs on agents. So rather than do that, look at things like retrieval augmented generation that takes data across processes and things like FAQs and answers that with generative AI and conversational AI. So love how we're doing that at IBM. That's actually, our Ask HR is something internally that I found very impressive when I came back. And ultimately, you can still get a hold of a person if you really, really need to, right? And so that's the balance, is you need to understand, well, what are the pieces based on my customers, based on my use case, that are really, really important to be using AI? And then where can I extend and spend more valuable resources? What are those activities they should really be focused on? And then the third one is application modernization. I think for startups, I would position this slightly differently and say, you're already building for the modern environment, right? So there might be some of you who maybe you started one company and then you made a major pivot and you're like, actually, no, I have some really good components, but I'm gonna take a slightly different direction, and you had to modernize. So things like automating code generation, using your developer organization more wisely is critical here. So things like using Code Assist to generate and automate the design of code, or proofreading your code, or transforming your code from a legacy system to a new structure. These are
Suddenly everyone's becoming a developer, right?
Yeah, everyone's a developer, everyone does AI. Like, these are themes that we're seeing just across the booths and here at SaaStr today. So let me go ahead to the next slide here. I want to highlight two companies that we're working with who have done an amazing job of this, and really the goal is to bring to life how they did it, right? We can talk about the use cases, but understanding what they went through and what was really important to them. So first, I'm going to highlight Alice Chrissy, the co-founder and CEO, who's up in the front. So thank you so much for coming, Alice. Alice is our co-founder and CEO of Ova Medical. And Ova Medical is a med tech startup company that is focused on a really, really important and sensitive topic, which is solving questions around fertility and health. So as you can imagine, when you're dealing with fertility, this is a sensitive issue. The people who are coming to Ovum looking for answers have probably been, trying to get pregnant for a long time, or they're trying to find answers, and so they're in a vulnerable place. And so when they come to a place like Ova Medical, they're looking for not only answers to their medical questions, but they need it to read with empathy. And so that was one of the first things I remember Alice told me on the phone. She's like, I don't care what the technology does, if it's not empathetic, like, it's not going to work. And we said, this is beautiful. We want to work with you, because sentiment is something that can absolutely be trained in our models, and we can highlight the sentiments that are most important to you. So not only did we leverage, our tools and systems to build a solution that would come in and help her scale 60,000 patients, both their Q&A with medical professionals, as well as actually converting and booking appointments. So you can just imagine all of these people. We resolve some of these cases with AI while also keeping a really, really empathetic tone, which I think is absolutely critical.
Yep.
So that's a little bit about Ovum, and let's chat more about one more company I have here, Make Music Count. So this is I love Make Music Count, really, really interesting technology product. They're focused on taking math and making it fun for students. So Marcus, the CEO and co-founder of Make Music Count, he saw a challenge in the school system where kids were starting to really, I'm trying to think of the right word. They didn't want to do their math, right? They didn't like math homework. It was hard. It was not fun. And he said, we need to think through a new way to educate students on a really, really critical topic. And so he infused music and, and pianos and all these things to basically say, hey, let's help kids learn math through music. So really, really exciting platform. He has, again, upward of 60,000 students that signed up in a very, very short time. And so Marcus, of course, is like, how do I connect the dots between all the students, all the facility leaders at the schools, and then also I'm trying to onboard more schools to leverage Make Music Count. And so we're working with them right now on how we can embed AI into their products so that they can scale faster and go across schools, which is really, really exciting. So with both of those examples and only a few moments left of your time, I want to hand it over to Raj to share a really, really special opportunity that we have built, particularly to help you design your AI strategy.
Yeah, and so like as we, continue to, grow in the AI market, I want the opportunity to offer to everyone here, the ability to try out our Watson X, right, and give it a shot, because, either you'll love it or you won't. And if you don't, I would love to hear from you personally, right? But my gut tells me that you'll really find value in this. And so, as Kylie mentioned, this is a great opportunity for each of you to try it. And as you've seen, there's really interesting announcements that we've been making over the past few months, right? With our partnership with Meta and Llama 2 models. We recently also announced a co-investment with Salesforce Ventures with Hugging Face, right? We are attacking this space in a programmatic way. I'm sorry?
And Llama 2.
Llama 2, yep. Yeah. We're attacking this space in a very programmatic way because we want to do what's right for companies that are out there. And I would welcome each of you to give Watson X a try. And then, we would love to hear more, and we'd love to have you up on stage with us next year at SaaStr, talking about how you implemented Watson X and how your AI strategy really grew over the past year. So that said, I just want to thank everyone for spending some time with Kylie and I, and we'd love to chat with you afterwards.